You know, in a corner of the Arabian desert, right at the top of the Persian Gulf, there's this place of searing heat and just staggering wealth, a country where ancient history and hypermodern ambition collide in the most fascinating ways. This is the story of Kuwait, a fortress of paradoxes.
Okay, let's just start with something that might blow your mind. This right here, this is the Kuwaiti dinar, and it happens to be the single most valuable currency on the entire planet. Yeah, it's more powerful than the US dollar, the British pound, or the euro. It's the dinar.
So, you have to ask, right? How on earth did this small desert nation, a place smaller than the state of New Jersey, with almost no fresh water, build an economy so strong that its money just dwarfs everyone else's? Well, the answer is a wild story of seafaring, black gold, and some pretty incredible foresight.
So to really understand how Kuwait built this modern fortress of wealth, we got to journey back, way back, through its ancient sands. Because long before anyone even knew what to do with oil, this slice of coast was already a major player on the world stage.
I mean, archaeologists have found stuff here from the Dilmun civilization that goes all the way back to 4000 BC. This wasn't some sleepy little outpost. No, it was a bustling hub for sea trade, a critical link connecting the great civilizations of Mesopotamia up north and the Indus Valley way out east.
And right here, you see the first great paradox of Kuwait. On one hand, you've got this rich maritime history, home to some of the oldest seafaring boats ever discovered. But it was all born from this incredibly harsh landscape. We're talking about an arid land with pretty much no fresh water in one of the hottest climates you can find. From the very beginning, survival and resilience were just baked into its DNA.
For centuries, life just went on, you know? It was shaped by the sea and the sand. But then, in the 20th century, a discovery deep beneath that desert would change Kuwait, and really the world, forever.
And the transformation? It was dizzyingly fast. Oil exports kick off in 1946. Then, get this, just 7 years later, in an incredible act of forward thinking, Kuwait creates the world's very first sovereign wealth fund. It was a revolutionary idea, right? Take the oil money and invest it for a future when the oil might not be there. By 1961, it was a fully independent nation ready to take on the world.
And this shift kicked off what so many people now call Kuwait's golden age. The country became this beacon of progress in the region. It was known for its liberal attitudes, a level of press freedom that was just unheard of in the Arab world at the time, and a cultural scene that was, well, it was absolutely exploding. It was the place to be.
But here's the thing. That cultural explosion wasn't just a local thing. Oh no. Kuwait became the undisputed creative capital for the entire Gulf region, and it earned a nickname that tells you everything you need to know.
Just let that sink in for a second. In a region we now associate with the massive media hubs of Dubai and Qatar, it was tiny little Kuwait that was the original cultural powerhouse. They called it the Hollywood of the Gulf.
Seriously, if you grew up anywhere in the Gulf from the 70s through the 90s, the TV shows you were watching, the plays everyone was talking about, they were almost certainly Kuwaiti. The nation's actors, writers, and directors weren't just making entertainment. They were basically setting the cultural agenda for millions of people. And the dominance was just staggering. At its peak, Kuwait was producing something like 90% of all the television and theater for the entire Gulf Arab market. That's not just influence, that's a cultural monopoly. It was a form of soft power long before that term became a buzzword. Kuwait didn't just lead the industry, it was the industry. But this golden age, it was about to face a brutal, brutal interruption. And the trauma of that war, plus the decades of development that followed, have forged a new and, let me tell you, a deeply complex modern Kuwait.
The 1990 invasion by Iraq was a deep scar on the national soul. I mean, it was a moment of profound crisis that tested the nation to its very core. But out of all that trauma, this incredible sense of unity was born, a resilient modern identity that really defines the country even today.
So as Kuwait rebuilt and grew, another one of its great paradoxes began to take shape. Today, Kuwaiti citizens, the actual citizens, make up only about 30% of the population. The other 70%, the vast majority, are expatriates from all over the world. I mean, think about that. This demographic reality, it raises some pretty profound questions, doesn't it? What happens to a society when its citizens are actually the minority? It creates this completely unique social fabric and brings up all these complex issues of identity, labor, and what it even means to be a nation.
And all of that brings us to today, to a nation sitting on immense wealth,
but facing equally immense challenges as it tries to chart a course for its next chapter.
And this is really the central paradox of modern Kuwait. On one side of the scale, you have this unimaginable wealth. The world's oldest sovereign wealth fund, massive oil reserves, you name it. But on the other side, some serious hurdles. A persistent political gridlock often stalls crucial economic reforms, and sometimes they even struggle to fund the massive public sector payroll. It's a real tug-of-war.
And yet, Kuwait keeps building for the future with just breathtaking ambition. We're talking about one of the world's longest bridges, the Middle East's largest oil refinery, and one of the biggest cultural districts on the entire planet. This is a nation that still dreams really, really big.
So we're left with this question. A nation built on ancient trade routes, completely transformed by oil, once defined by its cultural leadership and now shaped by trauma and these wild demographic shifts, can this fortress of paradox use its incredible history of resilience and foresight to build a future that's just as brilliant as its past, even beyond oil?